you talk about these excuses, it's back to the phrase that we've said a lot on here before is how you do anything is how you do everything. And it was interesting in hearing Thom kind of work through with people throughout the process. So every time we would have a break, Thom would talk to us about like, hey, what are you feeling? Who here's hurt? Who here has something going on? And as people would kind of bring up these things that they were battling or that they were thinking about or just thoughts that they had throughout the process, he would kind of break those down for them into, hey, have you ever thought about this in your everyday life? And it was interesting how those same excuses you used in something physical like this are the same excuses you're using in everything.
Everything.
So like the this is stupid, or the not wanting to start, or the wanting to be respected. So, you know, those things that were happening in that 24 hours are the same excuses that you're using in every other aspect of your life.
Our vow and our philosophy. The sales wolves hustle hard, it's our policy. We create economies, goal-crushing anomalies. Came in this world to dominate with no apologies. Gotta get it till the day that we cease to breathe. Sales wolves got the tools that you know you need. Real lessons, confessions of what it really means to go from nothing to something and everything between. Married in the game and we took vows. Gonna get it poppin', yeah, when you hear them wolves howl. When you hear them wolves howl. Yeah. When you hear them
All right, welcome to the Sales Wolf Podcast. My name is Joseph Caldwell, and this is
Tyler Harris.
And we are the Sales Wolves.
Ow.
Yes, sir. Tyler, this is in honor of Halloween, which is a very special day to me. Oh my God, that looks funny. Very, very special day because it is the only day that from its inception was dedicated to Satan. But actually, it's not special for that reason. It's special because it's my birthday.
That's true.
That tells you a lot.
It means a whole lot more.
A lot more.
Hopefully.
A lot more. So,
To be determined.
this is going to be a fun podcast. We're going to actually discuss. Oh shit! We're going to discuss. I'm going to take my wolf mask off.
All right.
Wolf mask off. Halloween's over. By the time you see this, it'll be November the 1st. Today. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Mask off, sunglasses back on.
sunglasses back on.
He just got his pupils dilated.
No, this is in honor of domestic abuse awareness. Sorry. Lord. I saw a Bill Burr stand up on that, and I'm not going to repeat it, but it
I
was
saw the billboard.
pure hilarity. But that's not a hilarious subject. That's a serious subject for real. Yeah. So we actually, on this one, we're going to talk about the 24 challenge, 24-hour challenge that we just went through. We went
Unbreakable.
through Unbreakable challenge, right?
24-hour challenge.
That's right. So Thom Shea, 23-year Navy SEAL. He's a modern day super fucking Avenger. You know what I'm saying? He's a modern day superhero. He's an Avenger. Mm-hmm. He served our country, Navy SEAL, trained Navy SEALs, highly qualified. He does a lot of work with our company in training some of our sales associates and things like that. But he put out a challenge for us to do his Unbreakable 24-hour challenge, and that is to walk, hike, move for 24 hours. Started at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and we went until 9 o'clock in the morning Sunday. You know, you could eat and drink and all that kind of stuff. You kept moving, keep moving. You'd take little 10-minute breaks here and there to replenish your water, grab you a bite to eat. Tyler, did you have something to eat in that 24 hours?
I ate a lot.
What did you eat?
I ate a whole lot.
I
don't even
when
know
you
if I
named
want to
it
say
to me,
it
dude, it
publicly.
was the funniest
It's the most I've ever eaten in a day, like in a long time, but you're using so much energy. I mean, he said that you average like 500 to 600 calories an hour that we were burning for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ate a lot.
Yeah, it was. I did too. I ate more than I've ever eaten.
He said every 15 minutes, make sure you drink some water, no more than 5 sips, because your body can't process
More than
or
5 sips.
consume more than 5, 6, or it's just in there moving around. And then every 30 minutes to make sure you're at least taking a couple of bites of something. And then when we would break every 2 to 3 hours, kind of depending on the size of the loop that we were going on through the woods, we would eat just not as much as you can, but like enough that's like a meal, like a full meal. Kind of, again, just keep it to where you weren't depleted of energy and then using stored energy, that you were actually consuming enough to be able to turn that into fuel.
Yep.
Which
Ate enough go ahead and tell us. I got to hear this again. Dude, it was the best.
Steven Spielberg's going to throw up.
Spielberg? You're about to hear it. This is something.
Okay. The caveat to this is I also did not use the restroom. This is the caveat. Like, so it was literally burned away. I ate.
You still haven't gone to the bathroom, have you?
Yeah. Let's not talk about it. After you hear what I ate. So I ate 4 6-inch subs, public subs.
4 6-inch public subs.
With everything on it.
Yeah.
A large pizza. 7 Cliff Bars.
Good gosh.
5 Stinger waffles. Like 15 handfuls of trail mix.
And you have big hands.
2 packages of those Cliff blocks, those little energy gummy blocks. An entire bag of sour cream and onion baked Lays.
Oh my God.
Let's see, what else? 2 packages, like the packages that are like this big, of the chocolate covered blueberries and chocolate covered pomegranates.
Oh my goodness.
A Twix bar. I drank 4 Gatorades, 2 bottles of Pedialyte, and a gallon of water. And I feel like I'm missing something, but that's enough. That is enough.
Dude, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You remember when you...
And I felt fine. Like, I felt great.
The end of it, you were like... Jeff.
At the end of it, I was getting concerned.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I okay?
Why am I okay?
where did it all go? I was starting to feel like
Dude, by like
Elvis Presley.
At Wednesday, you're going to like sit down on the toilet and just be there for about 6 hours. You're going to have the 6-hour challenge.
Or maybe that was Sunday.
Maybe.
So anyways, moving on. But yeah, so we just completed this, and by just, I mean like our legs right now are destroyed.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I was hit by a car.
Oh yeah, everybody had blisters.
One of
Everybody
the
had...
guys that did it with us that I met just through Instagram, he lives in town. We met for coffee one day. I was like, hey man, you want to do this with us? He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Is that
Which was
Greg?
awesome, yeah.
I love him. He was a good guy.
He texted me this morning. He's like, how you feeling? I was like, I'm great, man. Just got back from a run. He's like, what? I'm like, just kidding. I need a wheelchair.
I knew he legit needed somebody.
Like, yesterday afternoon, I mean, it like when I got home and slept for like 3 hours. Like I got up, and I was like, oh gosh. I'm like, oh, this is not like. I told Maitland, I was like, this isn't like sore. This is like injured bad.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
I mean, my knees. I'd never had knee problems. My knees were just toast.
Yeah.
But we walked like 42, 43 miles.
Yeah.
So I guess
That was serious, man.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is designed, right? It's designed to introduce you to the quitter within. It's designed to introduce you to the quitter that makes those excuses inside you that are subtle, seductive, and believable.
Mm-hmm.
You never hear, just quit, quit. You never hear that. Most people never hear that. What they hear are legit excuses. I use that like, that's like an oxymoron. Legit excuses, an oxymoron. But they hear these things, real excuses that you can legitimize and make it sound good, dress it up. But what it is it's all a way to get you to not honor your word, to not do what you said you're going to do. And by the 12-hour mark, I did not want to do the thing to start with. I did not want to be there. I knew it.
You made us very aware of that.
Yeah. Yes, I did. They're going around in the beginning asking what people's intentions are, and I'm like, get everyone to quit so I can quit. But I didn't want to start.
Yeah.
It was not something I wanted to do. I knew it was going to be tough, and I knew if I started, I had to finish, and I knew I would need to help other people and make sure they didn't quit. And I was feeling depleted going into it emotionally, and I knew it was going to take a large reservoir of emotion to deal with stuff like that. And so it's meant to teach you to honor your word. And you may think, well, just walking for 24 hours, what big a deal is that? Let me tell you, when you got blisters on every single part of your foot that hits the pavement, and you got to take duct tape and wrap it around your foot, wrap it around your heel, when you have to legitimately have walking sticks to even take a step, it becomes real. When you twist your ankle in the first 3 hours, and it hurts to put pressure on it, and you go for another 21 hours, that's a legitimate deal. That's legit. Like, that's not easy. That quitter within who makes those subtle and seductive and believable excuses is going to show up. And that person is going to make those excuses, and you're going to hear it softly at first. But the more that you walk and the more pain that you got in, the pain can become a very believable excuse. But the more of that happened, and the quieter it was around me, I could hear that voice getting louder and louder and louder. And I don't know if I told you this yet or not, but as I hung back towards the back in solitude, it was that was a lonely place to be. And then whenever Kim hurt herself, and I was walking with her in the last 12 hours to make sure that she could keep going, and she asked me to walk with her to keep her strong. So that she could pull from my strength. And that's really when I started, and I was separated from all of y'all. I heard they're not going to respect you, that you're not up there with them. They don't know what you're doing. They probably think you're lollygagging. They probably think this isn't as tough on you as it is on them. They won't respect what you did. They won't think you did it as much as them. All this stuff, I just kept hearing this over and over. And that's the closest I came to being like, F it, I'm going home. I'm taking it to the house. And what I realized was I really, deep down, I care what other people think about me. Not like, am I a nice guy? Am I a good person? I really don't care what people think in those situations. What I cared about was, do they respect me for what I've done? And that's a driving force in me. And that quitter within was making that subtle, seductive, believable excuse. And early on, like by the 12-hour mark, I was hearing, and I've heard this before, and I've allowed it to keep me from doing stuff, and I've allowed it to be the excuse to let me stop, is I hear, this is boring, this is stupid. This is stupid. Why am I doing this again? And at that point, you catch yourself and you go, hell, it may be stupid, but I said I was going to do it. Like I told somebody I was going to do this, and this 24 hours is about honoring my word. So I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other until I hit the end.
Yeah.
Right? Robert that went with us, his was, he had tried it on his own. Let me tell you what, it is not, dude, that's a whole nother realm.
Can't fathom.
He was do you know that he went and worked out that day?
Yeah, I know. And he had been
stayed
up since
all
like
day.
4.
He got up at 4, went and worked out that day, bike, cycle, whatever they do, spin class, he taught a class, and then did air squats, he lifted with his upper body, did his core strength, and then he started at like whatever time in the afternoon, and he got about 14 hours in or something like that.
Yeah, like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and he turned around and took it to the house. And here's the thing. He's an Ironman athlete.
Yeah.
It ain't like he hasn't done hard stuff. I mean, he's walked through hell to get to a finish line. And so this was his redemption, and there was no way that he was going to stop. He turned around and ran a couple miles after we were done. Did you realize that?
Yeah, I saw him go up there.
Yeah, he took off, went running up the trail. I mean, that's legitimate, because he wanted to make sure that quitter within knew he was not one.
Yeah.
You know, it was fascinating, man. What did you see in there that impressed you or that you took from it?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about these excuses, it's back to the phrase that we've said a lot on here before, is how you do anything is how you do everything. And it was interesting to me in hearing Thom kind of work through with people throughout the process. So every time we would have a break, Thom would talk to us about like, hey, what are you feeling? Who here's hurt? Who here has something going on? And as people would kind of bring up these things that they were battling or that they were thinking about, or just thoughts that they had throughout the process, he would kind of break those down for him into, hey, have you ever thought about this in your everyday life? And it was interesting how those same excuses you used in something physical like this are the same excuses you're using in everything.
Everything.
So like the this is stupid, or the not wanting to start, or the wanting to be respected. So, you know, those things that were happening in that 24 hours are the same excuses that you're using in every other aspect of your life. That was interesting having him kind of point out some of those for people. I think for me, even as I'm still kind of processing it, to be honest, because it's so fresh. But even as we're sitting here just going through it, I'm kind of having some realizations for me. So as I went through it, I documented the whole thing on social media. I was on Facebook Live like 30 times. I thought Facebook was going to notify me that like, enough already. We get it. You're walking.
We know the live button works.
We get it. You're walking for a while.
Quit hitting it.
But I had made the commitment to do that, you know, for myself and for Thom, because we're going to be help him promote his online coaching, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is incredible.
We
and so
love it, man.
Yeah, so I had committed to do that. One of the interesting things that thinking back now is even when like we had certain times where we were kind of isolated on purpose, where he would say, hey, we're going to send you up one at a time. And so you'd have like, you know, it was just 20, 30 minutes, if that, where you were by yourself. And in those times, I was either on Facebook Live or I'd get done with the Facebook Live, and what would I do? I wouldn't just walk and, you know, allow myself to even have thoughts. I was on my phone, you know, doing posts and scheduling stuff out, and which is interesting to me that like, you know, that inner dialogue, I pretty much tried to block
Shut it out.
I pretty much blocked. I don't know if it was that I didn't want to go to that place, or if it was that I felt like, oh, I've already got that down. You know, I kind of felt like that, but I basically created a scenario where I didn't have to get into my internal dialogue because I preoccupied myself and distracted myself with other things. Had I done it without my phone, I think it would have been a whole other experience. It would have been a whole lot more. I would have gotten a lot more out of it. So I think I'm definitely going to do it again at some point with a group, maybe a group from people that are watching now. Who knows? But we'll do it again at some point. And when I do that, I don't want to document the whole thing.
I think, you know, I told you, which I broke my word, that I was going to document it. I didn't document one thing.
Yeah.
Because I was dealing with stuff internally, and I was in a dark place when I started. And I think it would have gotten ugly, because about the only thing I would have done is I would have been like, screw Thom Shea. Hey, do you got this? I'm going to send this to you. Screw you. I mean, I would have just been a jerk, because I legitimately, the first 12 hours, the only thing I could think was, this is stupid and I hate Thom Shea. And the second 12 hours, all I could think was, this is stupid, I hate Thom Shea, and now everybody else isn't going to know that I'm actually getting this done. They think I'm a lollygagger. But it made me deal with my own internal excuse maker, right? And it's a unique thing, man. Let's talk about his online training. He's got several things that he does, right? He comes in, he speaks to. By the way, we actually, how did we meet Thom?
Through Rebecca, Dr. Rebecca.
Oh yeah, Dr. Heiss. Dr. Heiss introduced. That's right. Introduced me to him.
Who's been on the podcast?
Yeah, she was on a podcast. I mean, like 20 podcasts ago or 10.
Wow,
yeah. And some awesome stuff. How to move from survive to thrive. Was some really cool stuff. But she introduced us to him, and I had coffee with him, and I just clicked with him automatically. I mean, he literally is a modern day superhero and has served this country. He's the most unassuming and humble, and his teachings and the stuff that he does in training is so profound and simple, which is amazing.
Which that's 2 podcasts ago we talked about that power of simplicity. That the ultimate form of sophistication is simplicity. And it was neat because he has several things that he does. I mean, he obviously will go in to speak to groups, and we had him in to talk to our top 25, and he did a day of training, which was just massive. I saw so many light bulbs come on in there for everybody else and me. And then he has these, he has one-on-one CEO training, like top level executive training that Tyler's going to be going through. And that's what he did, and that's what he spends like 80% of his time doing.
Yeah, he spends about 80% of his time one-on-one trainings, and it takes, you know, anywhere from 9 months to 24 months to go through that those trainings. There's like 8 one-day sessions, and then there's weeks of homework in between each one. And so, and it's your own pace type of thing.
Yeah.
But another thing that he does is now he has these online courses, which are 13 courses.
Yep.
And holy crap, man, this is available to anybody, and it's not. I mean, it's not outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not outrageous. I mean, his pricing to come in and speak, it's a hefty fee to train a company,
Which it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 23 years as a Navy SEAL, and he's not dead. Hey, I would charge a lot of money for me to come talk to people
Yeah,
too.
really.
Right. And then his one-on-one training is really expensive. But what he's done with this online is
It's giving everybody
really
access.
neat. Yeah.
It's giving unfiltered access to the one-on-one coaching, but in an online setting that just by the nature of what that means allows it to be more affordable.
Yes,
basically.
Yeah,
So it's not-
duplicatable, so
Yeah.
he can get it out there.
Yeah, because
which-
even him, like he's got a maximum number of people he can train one-on-one.
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
in it, like each lesson is an entire day,
Yeah.
a full day. So there's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many days in a year. So he can only have so many people that he's training, and this gives him the ability to take his training and all his wisdom and put it in a platform to where thousands of people can.
Yeah. So we told him, we were like, look, when we do the 24-hour challenge, the Unbreakable challenge, we want to promote, we want to help you get the word out there, because we think that his stuff is viable.
Yeah.
Man, it is viable, and it will if somebody plugs into it and does it, it'll change their life. And we just he's a friend of the organization. We're going to actually have him back in to our next Top Gun training, and he'll do another day of training, and
We'll definitely have him on another podcast here.
Oh yeah, we'll have him on another podcast. We just fell in love with him, man.
Yeah.
We
And so one
think
other thing
more
he
of him.
did for us, because we literally just asked him, we're like, what can we do to help you?
Yeah.
Because he had done so much to help our organization and just us individually. So before we started this challenge, we were like, how can we help?
Yeah.
And so that ultimately resulted in us saying, like, well, what if we just helped you promote your online coaching? Because we can maybe push it through our community that would take it and actually get something out of it. Because at the end of the day, that's all he cares about, is for people to actually do it, actually complete it, and then actually have a story that comes out of that and said, hey,
He's
I
all about
did
impact.
this. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. And so he gave us a promo code. So if you go to thomshea.com, it's THOMSHEA.com/online. And then there's a box for a promo code where if you just type in online as the promo code, he's giving us 10% off just for our community. He was just like, hey, yeah, and any of your people, if they want to do it, give them 10% off, which we didn't even ask him for that.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of his way of saying thanks for.
And trust me on this. Every time we have somebody on here, we let them talk about their stuff, and we talk about stuff that we believe in. We talk about books we believe in. But I promise you this: if you don't go check that out, I promise you, me and Tyler ate lunch today, and
already did.
We're gonna eat.
He might eat a second.
He might eat 4 more times before 3 o'clock. But here's the thing: we're gonna eat. We already ate. We make lots of money. We don't care. Well, I don't care if you go and do this or not. In a monetary sense, what I do care about is when we believe in something, we're going to tell people, and we're going to share it with people.
Well, that's the whole reason we started doing this. And what's happened is people have come to us and sent us personally messages all the time saying, like, hey, do you do any kind of coaching? Do you do any kind of one-on-one mentoring? Hey, would you be a mentor? Would you do this? Would you talk to me about this? Would you do this? And there's just not enough time.
There's not enough time.
We don't have, I mean, it's the most valuable resource, and we just have none of it. And we're stretched extremely thin. And so we looked at this as a way to say, if we were to create our own training, we would hope that one day it would be good as this. We have access to this through Thom because of a relationship through him. Now we can use that when people are reaching out to us for coaching. They don't necessarily want coaching from us. They just want coaching that'll make them better. And so if we can use this platform to help that person that needed coaching, asked us, but they didn't need us. They just needed a great resource to go through, and then give them a discount on it, where if they were to go to get it themselves, they'd have to pay more. Then that's ultimately solves the problem for them and solves the problem for us, which is time. And so, yeah, I mean, that's it. It's thomshea.com/online, and then just use the promo code online, and it gives you 10% off.
The promo code is actually ONLINE.
Yep.
And Thom Shea is THOMSHEA.
That's what we were calling him when we were frustrated. We were calling him Thom Shea.
Yeah, we were calling him
and all
Thom
kinds of
Shea and
things
every
that we
other
can't
name
say
in the
on
book.
here when we
Yeah.
were about 14 hours in.
Yeah, like on the first round, he was like, "Well, y'all are gonna hate me when you hit about hour 12," and I was like, "What do you mean gonna hate? I hate you to right this minute."
We haven't even started, yeah.
You know, but he's an incredible person, man. We really love him.
And the lessons in the online training are built around his book, Unbreakable, Navy SEAL's Way of Life. And it's based on these 13 lessons that he literally wrote for his kids had he not survived what he was going through.
Yep.
So had he not made it home after being in combat and then insanely chaotic scenarios that you will read about in the book, he wrote out these lessons that he wanted to teach his kids. And if you just think about that, if you have kids and being in that situation and how impactful these lessons must be if they were the only things he wanted his kids to learn from him.
This is if he could leave a legacy, he left these 13 lessons for his children, his 3 kids.
Yeah.
2 of which came to see us the other day.
Yeah,
they stopped
came
by and they walked around with us. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, and my son came and walked with him. My son and his son are same age and they're buddies, so they play. But that's really, really cool. And there was a lot of lessons that were learned that day, night, that 24 hours.
Yeah.
But,
one thing, just kind of in closing, for me, it just made me realize, like, you can pretty much do anything if you commit to it. Like, at the end of the day, when we got done 24 hours later, I was like, yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
But you just do it. Like, and you say you're going to do something and you do it.
Yeah.
And being able to honor your word, there's a million different ways that you can practice that or reinforce that. And this was just one way, but it was a brutal way to where it gave you an infinite number of reasons why not to, and you only had one too, and it was because I said it would.
Because you said it would.
And so, the encouragement coming out of this and our challenge to everybody is to look at those things that you're not doing and try to be self-aware enough to realize what your excuses are and to be able to just kind of like make that realization of like, I'm not doing this right now because I just said this is stupid, I don't need to do this. And then kind of look into that,
It just translated into a salesperson, right? They're making phone calls. I'm making 100 phone calls today. You get to 75, it's already 5 o'clock, and you've already just crushed them, set up 20 appointments. You said you were going to make 100. Here's what it sounds like. Hey, you already got 20 appointments. You don't need to make another 25 calls. It's already 5 o'clock. You're expected home. Aren't you going to be a good dad? Aren't you going to be a good mom? Your kid expects you home at this time, don't you? And here it is. Remember what I said? Excuses are subtle, seductive, and believable. Are you going to do what you said you're going to do or not? Right? What are you going to do?
Because it's not honoring your word to another person, it's honoring your word to yourself.
That's exactly
And
right.
then if you can do that, then the other
happens automatically.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. Man, I appreciate you, Tyler. That was fun.
Absolutely.
It's
I had a
fun
lot of
watching
fun.
you eat like a National Football League lineman.
Could be.
It was
I
awesome.
would have made some excuses in the past.
And
No, but it was awesome, and we do encourage you. We'll link up the web address that we just gave you for the online coaching, and check it out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us about it.
Yeah.
We'll point you in the right direction. But it's something that we highly encourage you at least to check out, and check out a little bit more about Thom Shea, because that site will give you a whole lot of information about him. Because there's just not a lot of times where I've been in my life where I could learn from someone that's gone through so much. And you hear stories and you're just like, I have no way to relate to that.
Yeah.
I remember when he was at we had a big training going on. He came and spoke, and he talked about these different stories that happen in combat. And it's just the wildest things that you could ever imagine. And then he asked us, so tell me about a time that things were chaotic in your life. And I was just like, never.
never.
I've never experienced chaos, and
Not to that degree.
I mean, because it just makes all the problems that you think you have so insignificant.
And that's
When
not
you're
what he was
talking
trying to do, though.
No, but like if you just think about it, like, he was like, yeah, every time we went out, we ran out of food, ammo, and water. I'm like, okay.
Every
And we
time they went
survived,
out.
and now we can teach you something from that. It's pretty awesome.
That is awesome, man.
So with that, this is episode 237.
Did you just call it 237?
I have been watching so much Gary Vee, and they're on like 2 something that I literally just added 200 episodes.
So we just skipped a 200.
If you haven't seen the first 236,
there's a
you've
reason.
got a lot of catching up to do.
This is episode 37.
And I don't even think we put a title on the front end, but we can just call it
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable 24-hour challenge.
I am confused, and I am Tyler Harris.
I have much clarity, and I am Joseph Caldwell.
And we are the Sales Wolves.
Ow!